Hello, welcome back to a new video. Today I'm going to be sharing my new gouache jelly paints and also trying them out for the first time by doing a Studio Ghibli study. I've heard more and more about these paints and I decided to give them a try after seeing how reasonably priced they are. This set I got holds 24 paint shades, but they're also available in 12 or 36. The pack I got is the Ghibli brand, which I bought on Amazon, and comes in a nice teal case, but they also do them in yellow, pink or blue. It has a white palette inside as well as 3 synthetic brushes of different sizes. It's called jelly paint because of the cups that they come in. They're like plastic jelly cups and they hold 30ml of gouache paint each. I was really eager to try them just to see how they compare to the tubes of gouache that I use. I use gouache a huge amount in my artwork, so I was really keen to see how different these are. I mostly use Winsor & Newton. Most of mine were bought secondhand from eBay, but they generally retail at about £5 to £6 per 14ml tube, so pretty expensive. You can buy cheaper beginner or student grade gouache from brands like Reeves, but these are really chalky and I do find that the designer grade gouache is much higher quality, although of course they come with the higher price point. So this Ghibli set contains 24 colours and it was £19.99 for the whole thing, which works out way cheaper than the Winsor & Newton at about 83p per cup. So compared to the Winsor & Newton at say £5 for 14ml, this works out at about 40p for 14ml. You'll have seen with this gouache at the beginning when I was unwrapping all the separate little containers. You do have to peel off all of the lids, which is a little bit time consuming and it can be very messy. It comes in the case, and although it is portable and it's stated as a portable thing, it's definitely quite heavy, so I wouldn't say it was suitable for travel. Because all the lids come off and then you don't put them back on, the paint is directly exposed to the air, so it's recommended to keep the main palette lid on as much as you can. It fits nice and snugly and it keeps it all airtight, which means they'll dry out a lot slower than if you had it open to the air all the time. And I still expect them to dry out, and when they do, I'll need to reactivate them, so I will spritz them with water and then give them a good stir. As this is a brand new palette, I don't have to worry about that, and so the paint was completely fresh, but we'll see how they go in the future and I'll keep you updated about maintenance and if they change consistency or texture. So for the painting, I thought I'll talk to you about what I'm painting before sharing my thoughts on the gouache with you. I've wanted to do a Studio Ghibli study for ages and I'd really like to do some more, maybe some sunset or sky references next time. I think this still is from Howl's Moving Castle, which I really love. It's hard to say which is my favourite Ghibli movie. My Neighbour Totoro was one of the first ones that I did watch, so that one's really special to me. And I remember my second was Ponyo, which I watched at an independent cinema when I was at uni. I think my favourite is Nausicaa or The Cat Returns, but I still have quite a lot to watch, so I'd love to know which is your favourite, and I'll bump that up the list. So yeah, I think this one is Howl's Moving Castle. It wasn't labelled very clearly, so I could be wrong, but I'll pop a link to the reference down in the description box if you'd like to do your own study. The main stylistic differences to my usual paintings would be the outlines on the reference and the saturation as well. I tend to paint quite muted colours, whereas I'd say Miyazaki usually uses brighter tones in the Ghibli movies. It meant this new gouache set was perfect because all the colours are really bright, and I love all the colours that are included in this set. I'm usually pretty conservative with my gouache paints when I squeeze the paint out of the tube, and I don't usually make much of one colour shade. The good thing about gouache is that it can easily be reactivated once it's dried on the palette, and that's one of the reasons why it's one of my favourite mediums. So I usually use the same colours on the palette over and over, but I don't mix up much because it's such an expensive paint and it does seem like it can be wasteful. I love that you get so much for the price you pay for these jelly paints and that the colours are so nice. Sometimes when I do a background, for example, like a plain flat colour background for a floral piece that I'm doing, I'll mix up a shade and start painting, and then I'll run out and I'll have to try and colour match it. So with these paints I can use one of the nice shades straight out of the palette and not have to worry, which is quite nice. So I'd say the colours are definitely a big win with these. The consistency and texture of these are different to the tube paints. They're a lot looser, so the tubed gouache is quite thick, but these are very different. I wouldn't say that they're thin, they have great coverage. It's more like a really thick bouncy mousse, which is a weird way to describe them, but what I've been doing is scooping out the colours that I want and then popping them onto my palette, rather than dipping into them each time I want a new colour. It's definitely helped to keep the paint palette nice and clean because I don't want to mix or muddy the shades together. It also means that I can put the lid on quicker and reduce the drying out time of the paint. Once I have the paint shades I want on the palette, I have just been using them as I do the tubed gouache, and I wouldn't know any difference. I'm honestly so impressed with these and I would highly recommend them. I'd really like to have a few more shades. I think another yellow shade in this palette would be really good, and a couple of other ones, but like I said at the beginning, they do have a bigger palette available. I'd say that so far, and I obviously haven't used them all yet, but I'd say that the white is definitely not as opaque as the Winsor & Newton one. I'm not sure anything can beat that really. It's the one tube that I'm always rebuying because it's such a staple, and it's a really good opaque white. Whereas the white in this palette it's great for mixing and using with the other colours, but just using it on its own or mixed with a few other colours like the pink, I do find that when I layer it over other colours in the background, it's not very opaque at all. And I do that on the flowers here, where you'll see I try and go over the background that I've already painted with a very light pinky white, and that definitely takes a few layers of building that up to get the opaqueness that I need. I also want to share that I'm starting a new challenge. I really want to push my creativity and art, so I'll be starting a new personal art challenge. It'll be like the 365 challenge, which is when you share and create a new drawing or painting every single day for 365 days. But instead I'll be doing it 6 times a week, so I can have Saturday off because that's usually my busy day. So from today, which is the 7th of August 2021, I'll be creating a new painting each day and sharing it over on my Instagram from Sunday to Friday. I'm really excited for it, and I'm excited for the results. Lately I've been overthinking my art and I really just want to have fun with it. I felt kind of paralysed with creating, like I'll want to paint in my sketchbook but I'm just so stuck with the blank page. Or I'll be scared to create in it because I want it to be perfect and come out well. So I'm really hoping that this challenge will help with that. I really want to begin to create for fun again and not worry about the end result. That I'll actually create some bad or ugly art, but it's okay because I'll still be creating. I just want to enjoy the process and experiment a bit more. I've always been hung up about my art style or lack of, and I'm hoping that just by creating more, I'll be able to see more patterns in my work and find something that I feel comfortable with. I'm also hoping to experiment with more mediums and try new things. I'm just really excited as I think doing it every day will really force me to try new things and really speed up the process of enjoying art again. It's going to be tricky to incorporate it into my routine and post on Instagram so often. I'm a little bit nervous because if I create something that I do deem ugly, I'll still have to share it because doing something new each day won't leave me room to redo it. But I think actually that's a good thing. It will stop me from trying to be such a perfectionist. So anyway, I just wanted to share that I might be sharing more painting videos than other subjects over the next however long I keep this up. I'm thinking maybe a casual chatty vlog style thing, like a wrap up after a week or two and showing what I've created and what I'm thinking about it all. Or maybe just process videos of some of the pieces that I do, I'm not sure yet. But I would like to document the journey, and I think I'll be able to share a bit more of my thoughts here on YouTube and on video rather than I do in my Instagram captions as I post them. So yeah, I'm really excited to get started, and I also really hope that you enjoyed watching this video. It was a very different style for me. I think if it was my own painting, I definitely wouldn't have added the outlines, but it really does finish this one off nicely. And it's not the perfect match to the reference. I think I could have been more specific with the blades of grass or the actual shapes, but I think the main body of it is there, and it was a really nice study to do. So I'll pop my Instagram link down below if you'd like to see my daily art updates from now on and follow along in real time. Thank you so much for watching this video, and if you haven't subscribed to my channel, then please do hit the subscribe button. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a lovely week. See you later.